Morning guys, welcome to the shop. I thought I'd do a quick little video on how I install nut plates. This is the left wing fuel tank inboard edge, and I've got one started here just about ready to rivet on. The other one here I'll show you. My first little tip is these are the 509 style, the countersunk dimple style screw for number 8. And take a screw that you're going to use, and sometimes I'll use the pan head, but for this example this one works fine. I cut it off just because it makes it so much easier to thread it into a new nut plate. I don't have to lube it or anything. It's cut off pretty short. I just do that with a Dremel tool and a cutoff wheel. And then to start with, so here I haven't started this one yet. It'll sit, the screw will center up pretty nice. This is the quick build tank, so this is how it came from the factory. But that countersink, if the hole's a little bit large, then the countersink centers up on that hole, but this fits pretty good anyway. So I'll put the nut plate on there upside down to start with, because I need to drill those 2 number 40 holes. So I can get this started here. And just snug up this screw, and I'm kind of trying to get it lined up nice and straight to start with, and then snugging it up pretty good. I don't wrench down on it really hard, I just don't want it to move. And I'm not going to have to put too much pressure on there. I'm looking to see that it's lined up nice and straight with the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my thumb over here to hold it, just to make sure that it doesn't rotate as I drill the first hole. Then I throw a rivet in that hole. I don't cleco these. I used to try, and I've tried everything, believe me, and I know I don't have the little jig. I think somebody makes a jig that you can to do this with. This works real good for me, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of nut plates this way. Seems to work out fine. One of the problems I used to have, and I think everybody probably does, is when you get it all done and you go to put the screw in there with the sheet over the top of it, sometimes you'll have misalignment here, and it's probably because when you install this it doesn't line up, it shifts around. So the screw, I think, is what's helping stuff here, and then also the rivet now is going to hold that nut plate there. I'm putting a little down pressure on the rivet just to make sure that it's squared and whole. Drill the second hole. And now I can pull that rivet out of there and take the screw out. And then the next step would be to deburr. On this one, I'm not sure that I completely understand, and I'm no expert, so there's still lots of stuff that I just kind of like, well, that's what the instructions say and that's how I'm doing it. So I'll spend a little time scratching my head and looking at instructions if I need to. But so these particular nut plates on the tank skin, which is fairly heavy skin, you countersink the rivet holes that hold the nut plate, but you dimple the hole for the screw. So in this scenario now I would go ahead and deburr. Actually I don't need to do those since they're going to get countersunk, but deburr everything else, and the underneath side I'd countersink those. That leaves me to this position where I'm ready to rivet it on. So I would countersink these two and dimple that, deburr the backside of all of it. And then to install the nut plate now, I'm going to use the screw again. I'm going to just toss the nut plate underneath of there, and I'm lining it up, eyeballing it just to get the holes kind of lined up. And then this is what I think helps to line everything up. So I get it started like that, and then I'm going to throw a rivet in each hole. And these probably are too long. I think this is supposed to be a 3.5. But it's not tight yet. I'm putting a finger over each rivet, and I can feel that they're nice and flat and flush. If you don't do that and you start turning, you can probably see those rivets rocking back and forth. And that'll cause problems when you go to set the rivet. It won't want to set flush because it's got to go in there at an angle, and you either have to drill it or I don't know what else you do. But so I hold both fingers on there, and I can feel them rocking, and I'm kind of rocking the screwdriver back and forth as I tighten it up. so that those rivets will stay straight in there. And then I get it nice and tight on there, and that pulls it up good and tight. And then now they're ready to set those rivets. With the screw in there, I don't have to use Clecos, which get in the way when you're trying to squeeze these or buck them if that's how you were going to do it. But then those are ready to squeeze, and we'd be done with that one. And then once you squeeze, as you squeeze those, I don't have the squeezer handy, but I would do the sort of the same thing. I'll hold one finger or thumb on the one I'm not doing, and then I can squeeze the other one. That way I know that it's keeping the alignment while I set the first rivet. And once you're done there, go to the last one, and you're done. That's it. Anybody got questions or comments, go ahead and leave them, and I'd be happy to answer them if I can. See you next time.